Welcome to the Digital Government Podcast. Tune in to discover the future of governance and ways of getting there.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Digital Government Podcast with your usual host, Federico Plantera, journalist, sociologist, and researcher, today accompanied by two guests from Ukraine. Guests from Ukraine who will introduce us to what has been happening in the past few years with the development and rollout of Trembita, the data exchange platform that does favor the exchange of data and information within the country. And we're going to speak about it with Oleg Burba, who is a known face and voice of the Digital Government Podcast, because if I'm not wrong, you joined before once. And Oleg is the component leader of the EU for Digital Ukraine project, and he's responsible for the development exactly of public registries, interoperability, and also EID. So, Oleg, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Federico. Hello.
With him, we also have Ilya Rodin, who is the chief solution architect at Diia, the Diia app that we've heard so much about, let's say, in the past year and more. And we will explore a little bit as well of what is the connection between the two things, and a little bit how Diia is a little bit of this gateway, let's say, to the Ukrainian public administration for users, where they are in Ukraine or outside of Ukraine. So Ilya, welcome to you as well to the podcast.
Hi, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Oleg, I will start with you though, because even though Trembita in itself does not necessarily need a lot of introductions, we still, I think, would benefit from a little bit of a reminder, let's say, of what is Trembita, what it does. But most of all, I would actually start exactly with one of the main pieces of information that we're going to present today, which is how it contributed already to the daily governance in Ukraine. So how Trembita already has a very beneficial impact, let's say, on how agencies and ministries exchange information in the country. So how does Trembita contribute to this daily governance in Ukraine? And could you illustrate it also with some numbers?
Yeah. In the process of providing some kind of services for Ukrainian, the issues of simplicity, security, and comfort of their provision play an important role for parties of electronic interaction and providers. At the same time, trust of information exchange system plays a key role in the process of providing service, namely confidence that the integrity of the data is not violated during data transmission, confidence that data protection, including personal information protection, during the exchange is ensured at the appropriate level, confidence that access to data is clearly recorded, controlled, and lodged, and confidence is the authenticity, legal effect in the received information, etc. Nowadays, the system of electronic interaction of the state electronic information resources, it's the official calls of the Trembita system, is a key system of data exchange between many different electronic information resources in Ukraine, included public registers, something, information system. It is one of the cornerstones of Ukrainian government digital infrastructure. The main purpose of the Trembita system is to build a state information infrastructure that would allow and ensure the establishment of easy access to the state register without risks to data security and with minimal improvement in their exciting information system of the participants. The Trembita system is designed for automation and technological support of electronic data exchange between electronic information resources of participants. The use of Trembita system by participants ensures confidence in the state, in public authorities, both central and local level, and as well as trust in the information that the state store. Trembita is a data exchange platform which was developed jointly by Cybernetica company, it's Estonian company, and AGI experts, and launched in January 2020 in Ukraine. The basis of the Trembita system is a service-oriented architecture like X-Road software and hardware solution. which has been successfully implemented and operated in Estonia, Finland, Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, and is one of the model of European interoperability. This architecture is a model of European interoperability and fully corresponds to the conceptual model of public service of the European Union. About a couple of figures. Number of participants connected to the Trembita system, it's about production environment in Ukraine, it's 205. Total number of register and electronic information system which connected to the Trembita system in Ukraine, it's more than 100. And number of active electronic interactions between electronic information resources in the Trembita system, it's more than 350. And number of transactions of the Trembita system since the start of commissioning of the system, it's more than 5 billion transactions. This figure about strong development, interoperability, information system in Ukraine.
Strong development and adoption as well, because you have mentioned that Trembita has been active basically in the country since 2020 when it has been launched, following exactly the development from the partners that you mentioned. But we also know that in the past couple of years, there has been one record year, let's say, for the number of exchanges that of information and transactions that happen on the Trembita system. Obviously, I would say that it's worth reminding everybody that in the past couple of years, there's also something happening in the country that definitely makes for an increased need, let's say, for many communications and exchanges of information that support public service delivery to happen online. So, for example, what is this thing? What were these numbers in the past couple of years, and what's to note about the fact that Trembita is working well and is working even more during the times of war?
Yes, exactly. Trembita didn't stop work at all time of the Russia aggression in Ukraine, and Trembita has proven to be effective tool for governance and interaction under martial law. This year alone, almost 28 million transactions with the internally displaced person database and almost 12 million with the state registers of damaged and destroyed property were conducted through the system. Both registers are among the top 10 most popular in Trembita regarding the number of requests made. This allows Ukrainians to apply online to restore their damaged property and obtain and displaced person status or receive benefits. In addition, the Ministry of Defense has recently started using Trembita to improve data quality in the registers of persons liable for military service. The system is used to verify and align information with other registers. According to the Ministry of Defense, this process has already increased the data quality in the register from 20 to 80% as duplicate and irrelevant data has been removed after this.
Yeah, I would highlight here a couple of names that you have mentioned, which is exactly the fact that we might think and obviously talk about interoperability platforms and data exchanges mostly and usually in times of peace. But then in this case, we happen, for example, to see how a data exchange platform and information exchange can happen also with newly created registries or newly created agencies that do need to store information, such as, for example, you have mentioned the internally displaced persons database, the 28 million transactions that you mentioned, or also the about 12 million transactions with the state register of damaged and destroyed property. All of these are, even just from the names, when you pay attention to them, of course, as a listener, they do tell you what are the ever so many registries that are at the moment connected to the Trembita system, and also the new needs in terms also like of information systems that the government had to fulfill and respond to, exactly because of the context where the digital transformation and digital development of Ukraine is keeping happening, which is exactly the context of war. Before moving to Ilya, Oleg, I would have another question to you, which is exactly about instead some other services than this, meaning what I would like to know is what can, for example, citizens already do in a more efficient and convenient way compared to before, aside, for example, from strictly consequences of war-related services, let's say. So what is Trembita, let's say, helping Ukrainians to do in terms of services that already existed before the war and that now, for example, have improved in terms of delivery and access thanks to Trembita?
Trembita, as part of the infrastructure, is invisible. Citizens interact with the state through public services. Currently, most of the electronic services that are available to citizens of the Diia portal or Diia application are built on Trembita interactions. Trembita links registers and forms a single unified information field for the provision of electronic services. What are the services in Ukraine? For example, marriage registration services, services for issuing duplicate with birth certificates, marriage certificates, education documents. There are also comprehensive services that include a set of smaller services. First of all, e-baby, in Ukrainian «Є-малятко». It's comprehensive service for parents of newborns. With one application submitted online, you can register the birth of a child and receive up to 10 public services for the various authorities that are needed at the time of the birth of a child. Next service is a resident. This service status will allow foreigners to register a business in a few clicks, develop it remotely, and pay taxes in Ukraine on favored terms. E-entrepreneur. This is a comprehensive service that will combine 12 services for the business. Among them are state registration of a business enterprise, registration as a payer of single tax, submission of information about vacancies, opening a bank account, registration of the fire safety declaration, etc. E-resident and e-entrepreneur service will be launched in the second part of this year, and our project really involved on the development of these services.
Ilya, I call you in because the Diia app has been mentioned, not just by me. And so now, what exactly I would like to know, since you are exactly the chief solution architect at Diia, Diia is not a new name, let's say, that we're hearing. For example, I remember that last year at the e-governance conference that we had in Tallinn and offline, there was, for example, like a specific session that did explore how this gateway, let's say, to the to Ukraine's digital government, essentially, how it works. But at this point, what I would like you to introduce us to is the connection between Trembita and the Diia app. So, if you would like, for example, to say a couple of sentences on of reintroduction of Diia, let's say what it is, how it works, it would be perfect. But then, how do Diia and Trembita interact?
Hi. Yes, sure. First of all, I want to pay your attention on the fact that it's a little bit incorrect say that, about connection between Diia and Trembita, because Trembita is a protocol and Diia is a cloud service. So Diia as a cloud service can be a supplier of some services through Trembita, and at the same time we are a consumer of services which provided by another ministries and another state state enterprise services. For us, Trembita is first of all lifesaver. Why? Because in according to our country legislation, all personal sensitive data of Ukrainian citizens should be transferred through the network via security protocol. And Trembita give it to us. In addition, Trembita is a standardizer and certified data transfer protocol, which makes services on it quite predictable in both in terms of speed of operation and complexity of connection. And at least but not last, it's more predictable from the infrastructure point of view, operational, etc., etc. Another important feature for us, which available through Trembita, it's ability to monitor communications, and a fact that Trembita don't include not registered participants. So all participants in Trembita protocols well known for us and have very high level of trustability. And so it's like add to us additional confidence in defending against man-in-the-middle attack. Something like that.
So
we love Trembita.
Yeah, I love Trembita. I don't know if I ever heard someone, I guess, say that about an interoperability platform, let's say, a data exchange platform. But Ilya, one more thing on Diia is, what is instead something that you would say that Diia and Trembita, let's say, in terms of challenges of war, what is something that they help to overcome? Could we maybe share a couple of examples? Because we have mentioned the two examples of the two registries that have been essentially, they had to be created for the times of war. We mentioned the one of the displaced persons, the one related to property. But instead of mentioning two registers, let's say, what are instead a bit more widely two examples of challenges of war that Trembita and Diia are helping to overcome?
Yeah, sure. You're absolutely right. And as Oleg mentioned before, maybe the most bright examples of case when Trembita helped us, it's internally displaced person service and state registry of damaged and destroyed property. Why Trembita and how it's usable? You should understand that internal displaced person service and it's a service for our in domestic refugees. Yes, so that's people who left their home without any document, without any hope, only with something what we call catch in hands and go from the war to somewhere. Yep. So they need to restore some document. They need to achieve the status of internal displaced person to receive some finance help for residents from the Ukrainian government, from international refugees organization which help to us, etc., etc. And so we expecting to have very high level of trustability to information which should go through this system, and we expecting to have very high level of orchestration, between a lot of organization in country and outside the country. Yep. So Trembita give it to us and make all of that is alive, actually. So that's work. Yes. And about state registry of damaged property. Yep. It's allowed to Ukrainian to apply online to restore their damaged property and obtain some help from the government, financial help. What else I can say? In addition to that, the Ministry of Defense has recently started using Trembita to improve data quality in the registered person liable to military service. The system is used to verify and align information with other registries, and Trembita is usable here too. Actually, and according to our Ministry of Defense, this process has already increased the data quality of the registers from 27 to 88%, as for negate data duplication and remove all irrelevant data.
First of all, thanks a lot for the introduction. And second, I will come back to you towards the end of this episode because I obviously want to know what's in for Diia in 2024 in terms of developments. But first, and before then, Oleg, I have a couple of questions for you. One is related to an issue, or a challenge, if we may, as well, that that Ukrainian officials have been battling with, and obviously like working on resolving as well and minimizing, which is, for example, the topic of the fight against corruption within the Ukrainian government and within Ukraine in general, because the topic of corruption, more than being just a matter of one person to one person, it's more of a rooted, let's say, thing that does need a stronger intervention in order to be solved, but that digital transformation and digital solutions can help, let's say, to prevent and tackle somehow. So what I would like to know from you, Oleg, is exactly to shine a light a little bit on how basically Trembita is also used, we may call it this way, used to fight corruption and actually to minimize corruption within the country's activities.
Yeah, exactly. Trembita provides fast and secure data exchange for anti-corruption digital initiatives, for example, in the corruption sector. The data exchange platform has accelerated the proceeding of documents on the portal and made it possible to obtain construction permits without bribes, as 100% of construction services can now be obtained online. In 2023 alone, more than 6 million transactions in the construction sector took place through Trembita system. This allows the industry to operate transparency and efficiency. Second example, it's the Minister of Finance also used Trembita to monitor and verify social payments. This includes benefits, subsidies, and social scholarships. Trembita transactions help prevent fraud in the social sphere and ensure the efficient use of budget funds. The data exchange system automatically compares data from the state registers and databases. This eliminates the human factor and risk of corruption. As a result, the Ministry of Finance can detect the concealment of real income, fictions, divorce, or falsification of documents, and then notify the relevant authorities of potential fraud. In total, the Minister of Finance conducted more than 400 million exchanges in the 2023. This is a record figures.
Oh, beautiful to know. And actually, Oleg, exactly on this, I would say a couple of things maybe that do help listeners in general, like put into wider context the topic of corruption, let's say, because I think that this is one of those terms that maybe often people mention or hint at as challenges or issues, but there isn't maybe a real perception, aside from being considered something obviously ethically bad. There isn't a real perception maybe of what it means, the presence of corruption in real and practical terms in a situation where there is scarcity of resources. We must not forget exactly that Ukraine is a country at war at the moment. So in a way, in more than a way actually, every cent counts. Every little amount of money that could actually go into reconstruction, helping those who need help, assisting those maybe who are like either like in the military, for example, or who are displaced people. Like every little thing in this sense is supposed to go towards those who need it the most and towards those who have been deemed as recipients, of some kind of help or funding and support. So obviously, removing the element of corruption, as you said, we removed the human element and the risk factor in that. Yes, but exactly the thing to understand here is that it's not that we have to remove the human element by default, but in an especially dire situation like the one where we're in, every little bit of help, let's say, needs to go exactly in the right direction in that sense. So, Oleg, on this, I would basically ask you just a couple of more things on Trembita itself. One is, if we were to then sum up, considering that we are heading towards the end of the podcast episode, if we were to sum up in more general points, let's say, how government agencies are benefited from Trembita in their work, what would you say?
Yeah. Trembita plays a key role in improving government agencies' internal work and ensuring transparency and efficiency of management at all levels. For example, Trembita is only way for government agencies to incur into the state registers of individual taxpayers, the most used registers by institutions. 2022, there were more than 20 million such interactions. In 2023, the number increased threefold. This was achieved thanks to the State Tax Service team, who ensured the verification of citizens' personal data in other state registers through interaction in the Trembita system. Inquiries to the registry are increasing, which significantly reduce the administrative burden and optimizes the resources of government agencies.
So at this point, considering that also we said how 2023 was a record year in many respects for Trembita, what's in store for Trembita in 2024?
In 2024, Trembita will become even more capable of more accessible to citizens. As part of our DT4A project, the AGA team plans to expand the system's capabilities and develop Trembita 2 version. This will increase the speed of interaction between various government agencies and databases and registers. At the same time, the Trembita subsystem for monitoring personal data access will be launched. This innovative feature will enable the system to notify citizens if someone requests their personal data, significantly increasing the transparency of data proceeding and allowing people to control the use of their personal information more actively.
What about Diia? So what are the developments that are planned for Diia in 2024?
Probably most important for us in this year is our going to open source. So at maybe near couple weeks we plan to publish at least part of our service cloud and code of our mobile clients, Android and iOS. In addition to that, we have a lot of interesting works related to improve our infrastructure, use more modern and optimized transfer protocol into our service mesh, advance our monitoring system, improve it in a lot of things. Also, we want to switch to using a machine with GPU for our AI and ML services, etc. Another interesting thing that I can say, it's we are working on a ChatGPT based help desk. So it's at least at this stage it's more like experiment because we are not sure, at least at this moment, that we can reach reach our goals, because I know that one of the most important part of this technology is ability to creativity. But we are government services. We cannot be creativity. We should provide an accurate answer for our citizens.
Good government services are also those that do not require citizens to be creative about the way that they get the service, let's say. So I would assume that's perfectly coherent in that sense.
Yep. But we are doing everything possible to reach out all benefits from this technology and not losing the accuracy in our answer. Yep. What next? Actually, a marriage, so it's like advanced version of our portal web services. Yes, this service also based on Trembita. Marriage will take place in video broadcast, so we use streaming, real-time streaming in this process. Users should in real time sign act of marriage. Yep. What's next interesting? Actually, before marriage, you can do proposal through our services. If you fail, you can repeat it with another good user of our services.
Oh, beautiful! Like an exam, essentially.
Yeah. So we give you an additional chance to fix everything. Yep, it's funny. But in general, we constantly have a lot of ideas how to improve a lot of bureaucracy process in our country, make our citizen lives more comfortable, and public services transparent for users and without corruption.
Ilya? I mean, first of all, as you also have hinted at an advanced marriage service, let's say, my digital blessing for you on this and on the successful developments. And Ilya, thanks a lot for joining us today and for explaining about Diia.
Yeah, thank you.
And Oleg, thanks to you as well for joining us today and explaining things about Trembita and taking us really like into the workings of the Ukrainian public administration and also how Trembita is actively helping it.
Thank you, Federico. Data should run, not people.
I don't think there is any better digital blessing, if at all, than this one. So, with this wish, I would say, we also, I mean, what is left to do for me is only to thank all the everyone who tuned into this episode. So, thanks a lot to all our audience members for following us so far and for keep following. And obviously, the topics that we have addressed today will also be featured in the upcoming e-governance conference 2024, which will take place between May 21st and May 23rd in Tartu, physically, or also online. Hybrid event, as usual. We know the format. It's been working well in the past few years. And topics regarding exactly the digital transformation of Ukraine, successes and challenges will also be featured there. So that's it also from your host for today, and tune in to the next episode.
This podcast is brought to you by the e-Governance Academy. Tune in next time.